welcome back to the Try Time Podcast, episode 55. I'm Matt.
And I'm Callum.
And you join us with a brand new audio and visual setup.
This might honestly be terrible.
So this is either going to be the best quality pod we've ever produced or the absolute worst.
It could go either way, honestly.
Answer on a postcard, please.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are going either way, Challenge Cup. This week's games have been gone. Some good, some shit.
I mean, it's not been great, has it?
Mostly shit.
Yeah, mostly shit. I mean, I think highlight of the weekend's probably been us managing to get on TV. I say on TV.
Yeah, thanks to our fan club for recognising us on the iPlayer, by the way. Which, given the shit camera angles and appalling commentary they had, we'd probably been better presenting the bloody thing. But
well, yeah, we'll
have to make do with a cameo in the stands.
I'm gonna say I was shocked about the fact that I didn't even know they had a fan cam on iPlayer for that game. So
we just made it live.
Fair play, but yeah, and fair play to the fan who commented and let us know that he'd seen us and stuff. So going up in
that's
the
highlight of the round. That's how crap it was.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, the big stories generally are the attendances, and if the structure of the Challenge Cup is the reason for these subpar, probably the best way of putting it. I mean,
I think so. I mean,
two teams over 5k attendance wise.
I mean, obviously we were at the Leeds Saints game. Vlog of that on the channel. If you haven't already seen that, go check that one out. And we were like saying how poor the attendance was. Like you could feel it in the ground. It was pretty empty. That was the highest attendance of the ground by like over 2,000 people. That was ridiculous. And just for context, that was 7,000, which is almost 2.5 less than what we had for a friendly against Wakefield on Boxing Day. Just put that into context. A friendly is getting more than a Challenge Cup game. Both of which are, of course, not including season tickets, so are an additional cost to the fans.
And Boxing Day is Boxing Day, and people
when half the fans are probably still too hungover to get to the ground,
or just have plans on Boxing Day. Like not everyone, obviously, like for you, going to that game against Wake is part of your routine. Whereas for everyone, it's different. Obviously.
I mean, I guess things to throw in there. You've got the fact Boxing Day skewed by Wakefield, who are very local, versus St Helens, who have got quite a long way to go.
Still, but it wasn't like Saints.
But Saints away end wasn't crap by any means. And the thing is, they're going into that game with something to play for, and a game that they very much were the favourites in after the week before.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So again, that's probably more of an incentive to go. If I think back from the other foot, I would be much more like to travel to Saints for a cup game that I think we were favourites to win than I would be to go down the road for a pre-season friendly on Boxing Day that we're probably going to lose. It doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah.
As an away fan, the cup was a more attractive option, in my opinion.
Yeah, and imagine, I mean, tickets. I mean, there wasn't cheap by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, this is part of what's being blamed. Well, this is part of what's being blamed, certainly on the Leeds end, with the seated tickets at £28 a pop for an adult ticket.
I mean, just us. We stood up and.
Well, yeah, but admittedly,
I know some people need to sit like.
Not everyone's hips can take that anymore.
I know. I say that I literally sit down at Bulls, and I've done forever because of like.
Because you've gone with
my nan's not being.
You've gone with your grandma.
Basically. So
probably got the joints necessarily anymore to stand for a full game and pre-match and everything that goes with it.
No. So yeah, there is that, I guess. But obviously, it's not just Leeds. There's the other games. You know, what do you say? Is Wigan?
Sheffield was next on about 5k,
which is poor, really. I think from.
Bear in mind, they sold that ground out when it was the World Club Challenge to not get more than 5k.
And when they sold it out, it was like 25k, wasn't it?
Yeah, like
so that's 5 times that.
I was quite disappointed with that one personally. I think Warrington London on 3 is again not great.
No, is that at Warrington?
At Warrington.
That is very poor. That's piss poor.
So if you got that at London, I could maybe understand it more. I probably wouldn't be criticising that too much.
I mean, how do you have them in your head? How many they all were? How much were at Huddersfield? Because I went to the Huddersfield.
Less than 2.
Yeah. See, I'm going to say it seemed like they were more like the atmosphere wasn't terrible, but obviously they were only one stand up and the behind the sticks for the whole fans.
Which I guess then is also part of the problem.
Yeah, I get why they do that because it's just smart to cut costs and not have to, you know. But
Huddersfield could spend half the time with one stand open.
Yeah, I mean Huddersfield could just have one stand open all year round.
That's what I'm saying.
But then, how many teams could say that? Like, it, you know, how many teams could say? Well, is it beneficial to do that? Like, for example,
I don't know how many was at the 2 championship hosts, Fax and Batley. Not sure.
Yeah, I imagine a couple of thousand at each.
I'm surprised.
I mean, I'd expected more of Batley, yeah.
Especially with Cass not having far to go, I'm quite surprised that they've not come in as one of the higher attendances of the round, really, looking at what the rival Super League fixtures got.
Well, I mean, Harry will hate me for saying this, but where Cass are playing at the minute, that was probably the only win they're going to get. So
they've got all FC, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, yeah, I would have obviously people just what it is well, you got to think. Season comes out, the fixtures are all out. It's always just the gap in it that week, and you never know you're getting a Challenge Cup. So people might have planned stuff over this weekend, or made themselves not available for the rugby because there's no set fixture there that they're already.
But also, here's this half the problem, and I almost disagree with you here, and this will be a separate thing we get onto in a second. Do you half know who you're getting? Because you know in the back of your mind, you're probably getting someone else in Super League that you're going to see home and away potentially anywhere, depending how local they are on your season ticket. You might see them twice at a set venue with loop fixtures, and then you get it a third time in the cup.
Yeah.
At what level is this oversaturation? I mean, this was highlighted especially with the Leeds draw at home to St Helens 2 Fridays in a row.
And wasn't Warrington London 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, the only difference being a change in venue.
Yeah. But still.
But obviously, you've got such a small top flight of 12 teams.
Yeah.
And then making up 16 of the ball numbers automatically.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much to get some similar fixtures. I'm surprised we've not got any actually that didn't match next week's as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, with that, you've got 4 of the teams. Obviously, you say that about them. But hold on. So there were 16 games.
16 teams across
4
8 games, 12 Super League.
The championship, there were 8 games, and 4 of them games contained a championship team.
Yeah,
so only 2
Catalan, Batley Castleford, Sheffield Wigan, and Featherstone versus Leigh.
And a few of I'll just quickly probably touch on very close games from them. Pretty much all the championship teams give it a good go.
They all give it a good
Maybe
go. There only really Facts that got
blown away early on, but
and Sheffield hung on for a good hour, and then it just happened to tick over for Wigan in the end. I think as well, you probably saw the same image that I did of the Leigh Featherstone game, where the away end was. Well, actually, was it the away or was it the home end? I could either way. It was, again,
piss poor.
Phrase of the round, poor.
Well, you probably have to go back, and I don't have the figures, but 2 seasons ago when both them teams were in championship, fighting at the top, them games must have been getting in some, 6
more than that,
7 Ks easy. I mean, it seems like clubs, and I don't know if it's because of the lateness that the games are drawn and announced, but there's no being pushed like Batley. Why are you not pushing every bastard through that? I'm sorry for swearing. Every bastard. I don't. We say
apologise to your mum.
I don't. Yeah. My mum's kicked off basically about swearing.
That was part of my.
It were most 2/3 your fault, 0/3 my fault.
We're blaming my fault.
Right. Get everyone through that door, because it's such a big game that they actually had a chance in the competition.
Go to the biscuit factory and just drag them all.
Go around biscuit factory, just give them all a free ticket, give them everything. Get them dressed up in bloody bulldog costume if you want. Like, I don't care. We'll just get them in. Like, give away.
It's like Dan Patton dressed as bulldog.
Yeah, he might have come over and done bulldog because the Swinton didn't have a game this weekend, so he might have come over and done that. But just get people in cheap tickets and attract neutrals. Because a lot of Cast fans kind of know that I'd expect at least 1.5K.
Well, I genuinely think if we think back to the early rounds, and there was Barrow hosting Oldham on the iPlayer, that looked to have a bigger crowd than what was at half of these bloody. What are we on? Round of six games.
Round of 16, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? But
Well, yeah.
It is round 6, I think. But yeah, or is it round? Yeah, round 6. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because we definitely don't touch round 7.
No, this is definitely
then we go down to quarters. Although I'd stop at round 5 and just go round 16 after that. But
like
that's by the by.
You know, how are we getting more attendances to those kind of games than we are in what should be starting to get towards the business end of the cup?
Yeah.
So I guess it segues on to nicely is what's going wrong at this level and what, if anything, is there to fix it? Because I mean, you were floating some ideas around on the way here. Harry spoke to him before the pod. Obviously, he's not here. His idea was just
He's not allowed. He's on a leash.
Yeah, he's being grounded by the missus after his rather rowdy Catalan trip, which was supposed to be in the vlog, but he was too drunk and passed out to actually send us any of the shit he recorded.
So we just got a couple of stills of him on beach, I think. Well, I can't remember.
We should have just put the one of him dancing with that bloke in Big Fellas again.
Yeah, true.
Is
that his missus?
Well, I mean, she's from Feb, so you never know.
She's from God's sake. What do you get? He's got to be due back on, honey, soon.
Is he allowed out or is he still in his cage?
We might have to go to his house.
I'd be scared of what we'll find. We'll find bloody whips and dog collars.
Is that next vlog? We were.
What, inside Harry's dungeon?
Yeah.
Nice. What was I saying?
Harry flirted with some ideas to you about pub.
Oh yeah, funnily enough, it wasn't get a dominatrix involved. It was instead to just get rid of the whole thing. The Challenge Cup is dead. I'm not sure I quite agree with him on that one.
Yeah, I think you take it out of it. You take the Challenge Cup away, and it's like just takes another big day that we probably need in the calendar, really. A big trophy for teams to actually play for, rather than just having the league, obviously the grand final. But I did actually see a comment on the vlog, actually, I think at the weekend, someone mentioning about how they see it that teams would rather win the league leaders shield than they would the Challenge Cup, the way that they set out and approach these things. Like, they only really probably care about the Challenge Cup if they're we've won 2 games and we've got to semi.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty much, then it's like, shit, we couldn't get a trophy here. And I think it could be a case this year where if there's a team who's like a bit of a mid-table team, like...
Well, look at last year.
I could see KR winning Challenge Cup this year. Like a team like that.
Oh, I don't know. We know what happens when they get to Wembley.
I know, but just a team like that will actually go for it. Like, I don't think so. I actually expected a team like Salford to have done better, but obviously they got dicked by KR. Or like a Huddersfield. You've seen that in the past couple of years. We had Huddersfield, Wigan, and obviously last year was the ultimate thing with Lee and KR. I think it's right, Wigan and Saints, it can be seen as an opportunity potentially to put some youngsters in. I know Saints didn't necessarily do that against Leeds, but I could see them concentrating more on the league. And that's good. I mean, I'd love it if you had like a similar final to what you had last year. So I think that would really refreshing. Like it was
good to watch, but then if that comes at the expense of the competition as a whole, is this why people are seeing the league leaders shows more rewarding? Because it's actually 27 games of hard graft rather than 4 games against teams that don't really give a shit till the end.
Yeah, I'm going to say because you only have to win 3 games to get to Wembley for a Super League club.
Which is stupid.
I mean, how many do you have to win in 1895 as a Championship club? You probably have to win.
We need to win at least one of your group stage games.
So it's 3 3 really, but you play 4 games. You at least play an extra game. Is this an issue? Like, I think that format for the 1895 hasn't worked terribly. That's a separate video, probably a separate podcast. But in terms of the Challenge Cup, like a team like a Championship team even has played 2 rounds before Super League are in, so like that should be at least lowered to 1.
Well, I guess exactly where we're going then. What would we change to try and make it a bit more exciting? So obviously we've got the Castleford fan approach of bin the whole thing off.
Because they've got no chance of winning it.
Technically.
If they draw, who could they even draw? And they're eighth best team out of the left.
Well, I'm going to say who do they draw that they actually beat? There's no one left.
Yeah, no, I remember who'd been knocked out in this week's games.
Yeah.
I think they'd have to draw like Huddersfield at home, although they got digged against Huddersfield. Huddersfield are such a weird. I was saying this to you about.
Huddersfield are a very weird team.
But I like it. He's kind of really good at watch because they are the team that I wish Bradford were like this because we're never like this. We just don't win against shit. We win, beat the shit teams narrowly, and then lose against the big teams narrowly. Whereas Huddersfield just we shit against Saints and Wigan because we're never going to beat them, so let's just play shit. And then they just play unreal against the shit teams, but they actually have a ruthless nature about them, which means like they've put 50 on Cass, they put 50 on FC at weekend in Cup. Like I think they've got that about them, and I think. So yeah, Cass are fucked basically. They're not getting through to semis. That's what I've just deduced from that.
They'll probably draw Wigan away now anyway, won't they? And we're going to put all things out.
Hold on. What time are we on here? Oh, draws in 45 minutes. That tells you when we're recording this, so I don't quite think we'll still be on this episode.
If it is, then bloody hell, we've twittered on a bit too much. We're not doing a draw live reaction. So in terms of how...
Oh, that's the thing, you guys will know who they have drawn now, so we're just clarifying that so we don't...
Yes, I'm kind of not going to go into that any further.
Yeah.
So, okay then. Fixing the Challenge Cup, how do we deal with this? What's your first approach?
I flirted with the idea of a bit of a group stage, but then I kind of... Group stage, I guess I'll do this quickly. A good idea, the idea would be sort of you having... I can't remember how many teams did we say now? 64 teams?
Yeah.
So you probably have you do have a couple of preliminary rounds to narrow that down to, did we say 32?
Yes.
And how many groups would that? I can't remember. I'm losing
8 groups of 4.
8 groups of 4 seeded. So you'd get to this point where you'd have to have, I don't know, well, you have 4 seeds, 8, which you'd have to work out based on top 8 Super League, and then 4 below. And
I find it interesting you're seeding this draw as well.
Yeah, I think that's an option. This is one option, seeding it, and then what you're going to get is one of your lower teams, whether it's League Ones or if a couple of the low, the conference teams make it up.
The Hammersmith Hill Hoists.
Yeah. They can get a guaranteed Super League game.
I really want to shout Egremont at it if they do enter it, so it feels an awkward place to drop them in.
I'm not going to go into this too much because I think the big drawback for it is that, yes, for example, like 4 or 5 years ago, Bradford could beat Leeds and it mean absolutely nothing because it's just in a group stage and not a knockout game.
Yeah.
I think that does take a lot of the magic out of it. I don't know how we go, but I just think a group phase is probably proven to work all right in the 1895 Cup. I just think it's either that or you just chuck all teams in earlier.
But then, I guess my problem with that one is if we're talking about fledgling attendances here, which I guess from the perspective for anyone who's not quite made the link here and why this matters so much, most clubs are probably making a loss already on Challenge Cup fixtures. And looking to cut costs anyway. I mean, you even look at Leeds, they had half the bars shut in the ground to reduce the staff that they needed.
Leeds probably could have done with going down to maybe. I know you're never going to shut. You'd probably have had to shut behind sticks, wouldn't you? But I was thinking you could have probably done with that.
Well, I don't know if you've got room for them all now, seating wise, because it's all full of corporate at the North Stand. So I think you need that upper terrace of each.
Yeah, but you could have chucked them above South Stand.
Yeah.
You would have had enough. But then I don't know, because I know behind there's a lot of disabled your wheelchair seats are there. I know that. So
other problem you've got, I suppose, with Leeds is they probably know realistically what percentage of their ticket sales are on the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there's an element of that you can't control. But I guess moving away from that, even there were clearly staff cuts to manage the cost with it being a lower attended game.
Yeah.
Now, for Leeds, that probably doesn't matter. They're making enough over the rest of the season. And obviously, this is in rugby where we're not flush with cash anyway. Really, can a team absorb multiple times the number of lost leading games? That I don't know. Because you potentially got 3 of these here in the groups.
Yeah.
Because if I'm sat somebody debating whether or not I'm going to the Cup this year for cost reasons, and what am I spending my money on? I could go watch us absolutely put 150 points on Newcastle.
Yeah.
It's a good, don't get me wrong, it's a nice morale boosting win.
Good for young lads that you'd probably chuck in there.
Yeah. But does that really whet the appetite of a fan? And of course, I picked the most extreme example here, but as proven in the 1895, someone's going to get them.
Yeah.
You know, even if you've got like your Bradford Keithleys coming out of it in a group, so that's probably a bit more of a fight to it. And I guess it depends what you actually say in the next stage is. Is this group winners top 8 go up?
Yeah, because I think.
Or are we doing top 2 and then it becomes random draw? So you've at least then got that, but then do you end up with the 12 Super League teams? Or it feels like either way, you're going to get 8 Super League teams and the whole thing's been for nothing.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get 12 and 4 and again it's going to be for nothing. Assuming that you've seeded them like you mentioned there, which is where I think for everything I'm not in favour of seeding. I would quite happily watch the group of death being Leeds, Warrington, Wigan, St Helens, which is probably Wigan and Saints going through.
Yeah.
And then having an entire group made up of like Stanley, Thatawy, and both Hunslets, for example.
Yeah, and have that sort of.
And then when Thatawy draws Saints away in the next round or something like that.
Yeah. I guess
you've either got this gritty home try where actually the Saints fans are probably thinking, when else am I ever going to get to go there? Sod it, I'll go along.
Yeah.
Or it's an away day for the non-league club. Well, again, when are they going to get to go play at a facility like that? They'll all go. The Saints fans, it's probably going to be an easy enough sell to support the community more than it would be. And you'd probably put lower ticket prices on to encourage that.
Yeah, you
split the gate receipts 50-50. So for Crusaders, that's a massive payday compared to what else they'd be doing, being knocked out by League One, pick a team,
Midlands. It's got to be. Which, quick side note, did you see Midlands score at weekend? It is hurricane season, baby. We are on. They're going on title charge.
They lost to Rochdale.
Yeah, but they beat Newcastle, mate. I think they put 70 on Newcastle, you know.
Fucking beat Newcastle.
Matt done it, I tell you, best coach. I tell you what, coach at year, sign him up already.
Well, what if Harry said he's better than your fat man or whatever that you've got now? Honestly, like,
but
I think half the problem is the cup's not predictable anymore because you know what's going to happen.
It's not unpredictable, do you?
It's too predictable.
Predictable.
That's what I meant. You know, realistically, you're getting one of the Super League teams. If you get a Championship team, you're probably quite happy. It's refreshing. But you're probably not going to win. And I mean, if we want to talk attendances here, Wigan Sheffield 5K is not, we're saying we're disappointed by. The Super League Championship dynamic in the current format, which is what everyone's clamouring for, supposedly,
it's
not working. Yeah. Because that's a prime example of the sort of tie you want to see more of. By having this unseeded format or bringing the Super League clubs in early. But because the Challenge Cup's so dead to all these, for Sheffield, they're not going any further. This is the ceiling of what they're ever going to achieve.
Yeah.
And for Wigan, well,
they were probably just happy that they got a nice easy draw.
They're not taking it seriously yet, and that's because there's no real investment in it so far.
Yeah.
It just pops up in your fixture list.
How many did you say were at Leeds since?
Perhaps just over 7.
So it's interesting.
It's still poor.
There was more people a week at the game I went to a week before, which was an all championship tie. Is that telling of how far.
It's probably about the same, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, but then you've got two. You've got two. You've not just got two Super League clubs. You've got
two Championship clubs.
No, you've got. I'm saying the Leeds Saints are not just two Super League clubs.
Two of the big.
They're two of the top. Two out of the top three, and that three is comfortably a mile away from rest.
Yeah, because I mean, well, you've closest to bridging the gap are probably likes of Warrington, aren't they?
Yeah,
a good couple of thousand.
And then KR's FC and that probably fan-wise if we're talking.
Yeah,
but you've got two absolute mammoths of clubs, Super League clubs, and they can only manage to, let's say, match.
They can match the two biggest in the
championship, but that says a lot about how people just don't give a shit. And that's not. I'm not hating on Leeds and Saints and stuff. That just shows the cup. No one gives a shit, basically. No fan wants to go. I mean, we went and we had a good laugh and it was decent to do. But
I openly said, like, you know, obviously you and Michael went as neutrals.
Yeah.
And if you two had said, you two had already got plans or whatever, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
And that's me that goes to all my home games on my season ticket and as many of the ways as I feasibly can.
Yeah.
Like, this is the problem. There's a disconnect. And I think it does ultimately. If I'd watched the team from round one and followed the progress in our cup journey, I'd be more invested by this point.
Yeah.
And I don't think a group stage in a seeded group against, again, I'm just going to pick some random teams here, London, Widnes and Keighley is going to excite me to go anymore if the end result is still going to be a 12-4 draw or an all-8 Super League draw.
Yeah, it's one of them as well where, like, it's kind of.
And I think this probably only going to get worse, by the way, when we've got the IMG rebranded licensing back. Because I think there's a danger there that what's going to happen is on the pitch, you're going to see an even bigger divide.
Yeah, I think you are.
Because you're not going to be dual regging your best players because they'll get cup tied. So whereas I think if you were to just pick up like normal top of the Championship, bottom of the Super League, it's probably not a huge differential. The same way I think if you did your format this year and said London were in a group where there was only them and two championships or whatever, you probably get a decent close group.
I guess
where Wakefield probably could beat London, for example.
Well, that's what you probably wanted. You wanted like London to draw against like a Sheffield team, don't you? And that's what we needed in this round.
Yeah.
A tie that could provide an upset. But any of them teams, I mean, Cass came close to losing, but like if you'd have put FC against Sheffield would have beaten.
Well, I guess this is kind of the problem, isn't it? Because of those draws, like you say, you want an upset. You had Fax hosting Catalan, which
we're never going to.
I don't think anyone ever really thought an upset there.
And that's not against Fax. It's just
Catalan are one of the stronger teams in the league on paper, and
they're just not sort of team that gets bath. Like you just go and do job.
And like, okay, they've not had the best start, but they've not had a bad one either. You had Sheffield going to the World Champions. Well, the fact that they led that at any point was frankly a very impressive performance. Like that was never going to be a game that Sheffield won after 8
Sheffield are they are the team to watch in Championship. They are like you can't say. I mean, the beat to lose.
Well, I genuinely think now, if you look at long-term projects for IMG in terms of where to grow the game, get that new stadium built. 5,000 seater, get some safe standing stuff around the corners so you've got that minimum capacity for Super League reached. You're not too far off the main corridor where all the fans are, predominantly, but you're still in Rugby League town of Yorkshire. It's a team that's obviously got history in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Perfectly topical timing. Like, you've got a brand and a name to build from. That's a perfect place to develop your next stable Super League club.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about what the NRL have done with like the Dolphins and picking a new club in an area where they want to grow, that's where you do the equivalent in Super League. Sheffield makes a perfectly logical start point.
Yeah, no, it does.
And I think we're saying this away from the pod on a discussion. You've got the beauty by doing it this way and sharing it with the Sheffield City club. You're not crossing this whole Hillsborough Bramall Lane divide.
Yeah, you're not making one of them out to go support a team at their rivals' ground in a different sport.
Yeah, like the same way the Cast fans constantly moan about when Leeds Rhinos players rock up to Elland Road because they also support United.
Yeah.
Like, very much sidetrack. That's probably a pod of the future, actually.
Yeah, but I think it's good to mention Sheffield because they're doing some really good stuff at the minute, and they have been over the last
Chris
2
Wellham
years.
factor.
Chris Wellham, probably Mark Aston, who's been coached there in the last like 10 years. He's probably more to
He's probably achieved more there than what you would if you gave Rowan 10 years.
Maybe. I mean, what has he achieved? Did they won the first 1895 Cup, Sheffield?
Yeah.
That one else.
No, but even winning,
getting
big games like that is more than
getting to playoffs and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to play for, is there necessarily? Like,
I mean, we've got slightly sidetracked there. Like in terms of other championship ties, then Batley versus Cast that had potential for an upset, but unfortunately didn't happen.
Batley if Batley would have had the Castleford coach, they'd have won.
What about if they had Kabula?
I'm surprised they didn't. Cast probably wanted him to play for Batley because it'd give him more chance of winning. Absolute fucking donkey.
And then obviously Featherstone away at Leigh, which
Fed did a better.
They were closer than I thought, but again, you probably didn't expect a result.
It wasn't exciting as. I mean, are we spoiled? Are we spoiled by having that big Bradford Leeds and that the Derby thing? And that at the time, I think that was in this round, wasn't it? Round 16. Yeah. How many people were at Odsal that day? They were loads. 15, 16. They probably won, actually. I'm over.
You were massively upset. That were probably about 11.
Yeah, so, that's still.
But like, that's higher than any of these games.
How that was like.
That's higher than any of these games. Probably the highest attendance Bradford have had since they were in Super League.
Yeah, probably. Well, no, it is. Yeah.
Like.
No, probably. It is.
And this is the problem, isn't it? Because none of those ties are particularly mouth-watering. I mean, the only one you got hyped for in terms of an upset, like you said, was Batley versus Cass, which, no disrespect to either of those two clubs, they're not blockbuster names, are they, that are going to really get to... I mean, it wasn't even picked for TV coverage, so it clearly didn't excite
even though
the people in the selections.
Cass have literally got one of their stands named after the Castleford. Batley have got one of their stands named after the Castleford coach.
It's not the other way around.
No.
That would be very odd.
That's it. But yeah, it's just there's no magic in it. It's like until you get to semis, or maybe this next round, I don't know. No one really gives a shit.
But the problem now you've got is it's just more Super League games.
There was more hype around earlier rounds, like 4 rounds ago when Siddle got wakey.
Yeah,
there was more hype around that.
And this is again part of why I come back to what I say how it runs. Because if you think, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, we had St Helens in a semi-final hosting Halifax.
That was the year that we beat you because Halifax did us in quarters.
Yeah, they did.
There were probably more at that Bradford Halifax quarter.
That was the day when Halifax were 80 minutes away from playing 2 games back to back at Wembley.
Yeah.
Which I'd love to know how that logistically works. I kind of wish they won that purely so the RFL had that headache.
Did they end up getting to 18?
Yeah, because it was back when it were ones in Championship.
No, I know they got to semis of it, but I didn't know they got to absolute final.
Didn't they lose the final?
Right, keep talking. I'm brushing up on.
So that just proves that with an unseeded market, you've got a much greater potential to actually see these cup runs, because you're much more likely to get a all Super League tie that gets rid of one of your big boys. Because on a knockout one-on-one game, we've already seen the likes of Leigh, KR last year, one by one, pick the big boys off. So then, what are we achieving by capping the number of lower league teams that can make it to the semis? Or, well, not even the semis, sorry, to the round 16. It doesn't make sense. You'd never get this in any other sport.
No, you won't. Are you ready for me? 1895.
Go on.
So 2019, which was that year, it was Sheffield who beat Widnes. That was the inaugural one in the final.
Who knocked them out then?
Well, one of Sheffield are winning
Well,
since
thank
semis.
you. I got that.
Then 2020 they won, and then there's never a team who's never won it more than once.
No.
Fev beat
knew
York.
that
Fev beat York in 21.
Yeah.
And
And
41-34 by the way, close game.
And then Batley lost to
No, that's
Thingy in 23.
Yeah, but what about 22?
Didn't York then win it in 22?
No, Lee, obviously.
League.
The League good team in 22. That was like best championship team.
Oh God, 22
ever.
was the championship year, wasn't it? I was thinking they were in Super League that year.
No, yeah, 22, 30 points to 16 against Fev. That was when it were at Tottenham, wasn't it?
Yes.
What's the attendance is going on here? We've got 62,000, 40,000, 4,000.
Well, that's obviously not right, is it? That definitely should be
No.
like 43,500.
Yeah. God, anyway.
I mean, I know Tottenham are not as big as Arsenal, but the ground's got more than 4,500.
Anyway, there'll be a new name on trophy this year.
There we go. Don't know what happened. Our camera just died on our.
Yeah, on our video. But yeah, I just think the cup, the magic of the cup's gone.
I've probably said this about 15 times. Guys, seeded or unseeded, basically.
Yeah, and what
That's
you
the
do,
question.
it's just. I mean, there's been more hype around bloody Bradford having some prayers at ground, and there's been more social media interaction about that. That's literally it. This is what I mean.
So we're bringing that up.
Yeah, because some of the stuff on there is absolutely stupid.
I'm going to say, can we not repeat half the big
No. We're fully supportive.
Can I just say to anyone that isn't, by the way, Bradford are trying to grow the attendance at the club. They know what the demographic makeup of their city is. In terms of the white traditional British population, they've probably got them already in the ground from the Super League days, or certainly have had them in the past.
Yeah,
they haven't tapped into as much as probably being the ethnic minority background.
Yeah.
So this is the sort of things that builds the brand in the community, which is what you're going out and telling all the other clubs to do in terms of engage with the community. Stop being idiots when it actually happens.
They're trying. Bradford, I'll be first to criticise us for a lot of stuff that we do off the field and on the field, but
and everywhere.
Although I'm not as bad as Harry for that. But generally, we're trying. People say, "Oh, those are visibly whatever." Yeah, but we're probably one of the only teams in the championship, if not the only team. I mean, Fev tried, but look, that's all form fucking shit. We're the only team actually trying to get the IMG grade up.
I wonder if Craig Hall's got paid yet.
Probably not.
Might even have got paid yet, actually.
I'm going to say Fev might not, but that'd be another pod. We could go on another hour, rant for an hour now about.
Oh, well, we need Harry for that one.
Yeah, about Fev and
Harry, tell your girlfriend to let you out of your cage. You can come record a Fev pod. Cheers.
She might not let him because it's conflict of interest. I don't know.
No, she's a Southerner. Who cares? Probably a Bronco.
Oh God.
Don't get any better, does it?
Oh dear. But yeah, is there anything else you wanted to touch on? I'm trying to think if there's anything.
I think Challenge Cup we're exhausted to death.
Yeah, it's
there's less hype for what we've got to say now in quarterfinals.
That's what I mean. I just can't. I'm not up for it. I'm looking forward now to the games this weekend. What we've got coming up.
Yeah, so obviously on Saturday we've got the hat-trick of vlogs completed. We've got 2 games in 2 days, potentially the 2 best grounds in rugby league. Okay, maybe not.
We know one's a Leeds, one's a Bradford.
Yeah, we're off to Watson.
Where we go.
So if we're not here for the episode next week, we've probably caught rabies from one of the grounds.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know which one's more likely.
I mean, I've been going also for 20 years.
That's true.
I'm still here just about.
You might have got immunity now.
Yeah. I'll be all right. It'll be you.
I'll be dying. I mean,
you'll have your season ticket initiation anyway. You got to down a pint of Bradford Bulls beer on entry.
I've already had a pint of Bradford Bulls beer.
You've got to down it in one. Once you've squeezed through all the turnstile in stadium.
Right, well, so next week it's you and Harry because I'm coughing up cast disease.
Yeah, probably.
Right, okay.
And vlogs are not Saturday videos are not now always going to be vlogs. It's just
we are returning to a more conventional one, I believe, the Saturday after.
Yeah, these 3 weeks have just worked well for us going to these games and wanting to showcase them. It's not like every week we're going to be showing where we're going because
you don't
be
care
doing them every week. Yeah, we're going to keep it sort of as a special.
Also, we know what happens if we don't both go to the game. I just forget to record anything.
Yeah, absolutely not bad. I'm here at bloody Wakey, freezing tits of it, pissing down rain, no roof on stand, videoing everything, and he's there in his little posh south stand with his, with his little posh corporate mates, and he can't fucking record out.
How soon was he babysitting him? Anyway. Right, given we lost one for 25 minutes when trying to get a pipe, because it turns out he managed to break his belt in toilets while going for the vape. This is the level of what I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So
it makes Michael sound like.
Well, this is why I got no footage. I was too busy having to basically babysit a toddler.
Yeah.
The rest of them were fine.
But yeah, anyway, I think we're obviously we had thanks for the support on the Egremont pod last week. That was the first time that's been out, and
yeah, great to actually be able to show to you some of the stuff that we're working on with them. Obviously, we alluded to it then. There's more in the background.
There's more,
which you will hopefully look forward to. I'm sure one of these days we will be in the Egremont shirts on the pod.
Yeah. Once you've stopped spending £100 on NRL shirts, we might begin.
Right, I will buy the Egremont shirt next month. That's fine. I've got no problem with that.
Right. That's fine.
I'll buy it now if we really want.
Well, not right this second, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do you want me to hold the pod on while I just buy
it? Yeah, we'll get that sorted and stuff. And yeah, it's been good to have one like this because I feel like we've not had a rambling one for a while.
Oh, we could definitely have more rambling ones.
We've had the structure doing like the league previews and we've had like Johnny on. We've had obviously Aaron on from Egremont. So we've not actually
Chris.
Yeah, and we've had a ramble since Chris, haven't we?
Probably. I don't know, you know.
But yeah, I'm actually quite enjoying this. Getting back.
Welcome back to normality.
Yeah.
This is where it gets 20 views.
I don't. Shit. No, these ones usually do better actually. People like us more than as guests. So next week we won't have a guest either, so don't get excited. We've just done a bit more of this shit.
I mean, in fairness, we did all see just quite abusing poor Johnny.
Yeah.
So let's be fair, he's on every bloody pod going into these days.
I'm gonna say, well, could listen to that man all day, honestly. But
by choice or because he's everywhere. Or both.
Don't have a choice, mate. But yeah, let us know. I mean,
I couldn't until he rubbed in that Saints won twice.
Yeah. I mean, for next week, there's at the minute, obviously, an open agenda. We've got other stuff we can talk about, and I'm sure there'll be some talking points.
Yeah, shout us, guys, if you want us to cover anything.
Yeah. Any views on what we've said today, or anything you want to touch on, or questions you've got to ask us, and stuff like that. Like,
this is the Q&A special already.
No, but like today, we've spoke about today, like 3 comments that we've had on the recent YouTube videos and podcasts about stuff. We've touched on them today. So like, it's like we read them. We're not.
Oh yeah, we definitely.
If you ask us something that you want us to touch on pod.
Honestly, this is the 345 subscriber Q&A special. Yeah.
No, we're on 346 now. Actually.
Well, that won't right.
Champers will be out, man. Champers will be out.
Maybe when we get to 500, you can do that. And not just
when we get to 500, we'll have to do a live match reaction live stream.
Yeah. So subscribe and let us know what game you want us to do that on.
Yeah.
Present or past, I guess.
Well, past game, live stream of a past game.
Live stream of Bradford Wakey in the £1 million game.
Fuck up. Right, bye. Right, I'm off to therapy.
I thought you were going to say you're to Featherstone then. That would be therapy. Go find Harry in his dungeon while you're there.
Oh, God.
Right, on that note.
Oh, dear. Right. But if you know what's made it this way, if you have made
it turned off by now.
If you are here now, if you have made it all the way to the end of this podcast, I don't care if you're listening to it, watching it, whatever you're doing, contact us, whether it's you can bloody comment it on bloody Spotify or Apple, comment it on YouTube, tweet us, Facebook messages. If you've made it to this point, I want to know. I need to know.
You begged them all now.
Because you need to do it. So I need to thank you. We'll give you a shout out on next pod if you've made it this far.
Right, you've not anyway, probably. But yeah, until next time.
Yeah, we'll see you in a bit, guys. Bye.